information and come later. So I read through all the stuff with the proposed changes, and I have to say this is one of the mildest proposed changes I have ever seen. So I think that's great. The biggest one is 8 pages long, but it really comes down to just one thing, which is the purpose of this proposal is to continue implementation of House Bill 5 from the 85th legislature. The 85th legislature was 2017. So it's been a while. And in 2017, there was this bill number 5 that was like, okay, Department of Family and Protective Services should spin off and not be a subsidiary of HHSC. So DFPS should be its own organization, and DFPS should no longer be in charge of childcare. But they hadn't changed the Texas code to fully reflect that. They had put something in place, I want to say in 2019, which is where they had put in Rule 40 for Chapter 745, saying, okay, we're moving most of the things over to HHC and not DFPS, but we're not moving everything. And so these things are still going to be done by Department of Family and Protective Services. And these things are going to be done by HHS. And they have just finally finished moving everything over to Health and Human Services. So this long document, which is, I don't remember how many pages it is, but it's pretty long. That is the gist of the whole thing. I've read every word of it, and there's nothing else going on other than that. So yay. I don't feel like that one needs a whole lot of comment. But if you have never read 745, you might want to, because it talks about when licensing can visit you and what kinds of consequences you can have if your paperwork is out of order, if things are messed up, if you get cited for the same thing over and over again. You can have fines, you can have penalties, you can have suspension of your license, all of that, and when they can visit and when they can't visit, and how the review process works. All of that is in 745. So feel free to read it at any time. It's useful information, but you don't have to. The other thing was Title 26. This one, I think, has one significant change. So when you're this is all about renewing your credential, your license. So if you have renewed your license before, you know that you do it periodically, right? And when you do it, you pay a fee, you fill out some paperwork, and most of the time it's pretty much automatic. You may not have paid attention to what actually happens behind the scenes. So when you do it, you have to verify that the following information is current. What is on the licensing's consumer website, meaning the website that is customer facing. So is your address, phone number, and website correct on that document? I will tell you, a whole bunch of you guys don't have your websites up there and your email. So they're trying to get that handled, because if you want people to reach out to you via email, you've got to have your email out there. And it is a free marketing tool, because people are searching childcare programs on that website. Why would you not be listed? The controlling person at your operation. So if you're a sole proprietorship, that is the owner. If you are a corporation, it is whoever is the president of the board, whether you're a nonprofit corporation or a public corporation. Sometimes it won't be the chairman of the board, it'll be the president or the CEO, but whoever's the boss of the organization. So who's the boss of, say you're working at the YMCA. So who is the boss of that chapter of YMCA? Okay. And then a list of your governing body members, such as officers and owners. So again, if you're sole proprietor, that's just the person who owns it. If you're a partnership or any type of corporation, it's who's on the board, and who owns them for a majority stock. It depends how much ownership they have as to whether you have to have everything. The next thing is a statement as to whether your operation continues to need any, existing waivers or variances. So for instance, if you're a Mother's Day Out program or a part day program and you have a nap time waiver, do you still need, thank you for the blessing. Do you still need the waiver for nap time? So you need to tell them that when you renew. Here, here's a little thing. Here's what has changed, or here's one of the things that's changed. They repealed something. They changed how it was stated. It used to say that you had to provide verification that you had corrected any deficiency with an expired compliance date, unless the deficiency is pending a due process, meaning you have kicked it up and it's being reviewed and you're going to be in front of a board. And verification that all fees and administrative penalties that you own have already been paid. So those administrative penalties I talked about, that if you are having a significant problem with compliance, they can fine you. So now it just says that you must be in compliance. Now it says, oops. It just says you have corrected each deficiency with an expired compliance date, not pending due process, as opposed to you have to verify it. Because that's kind of a different thing, and that you currently have paid anything that needs to be paid, and you currently meet all background checks things. But here's the only significant thing. So this is the thing that if you have anything you want to comment on, here it is. We have, after receiving your renewal application, we evaluate whether, so you submit a whole bunch of stuff, then they evaluate. They evaluate whether you have completed the renewal application as required. And then they review whether they have cited you for repeated deficiencies or a pattern of deficiencies in the previous 5 years. It used to be in the previous 2 years. So they've just increased the look back period from 2 years to 5 years. That's the only significant change. So, like I said in the email, there's nothing huge, but if we're not responding and giving comment, then we don't get to complain. So if you were at a program that had a problem 3 years ago, I don't know, during COVID, and you had paperwork problems during COVID, this is now going to be looked back on when they renew. So were you having paperwork problems 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? So they're looking for, yeah, we had a problem, we fixed it, because the thought process is that, yes, you had a problem, you pulled it together, but if you're having a problem again, they want to be able to look and see, okay, is this out of the ordinary for you, or is this part of this there's a problem, we fix it. There's a problem, we fix the same problem, over and over again. So if your school has a chronic problem with something, they may not renew you. That's it. That's the only significant change. So that's all we've got. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.